Welcome to Psychology Live. I'm Dr.Gail Majcher, and with me is Mary DiPaola, limited licensed psychologist, and we're so happy that you're joining us. We have been taking a little break. Mary was on vacation for a week, then I was on vacation for 2 weeks, but we're back, and we're going to make sure that we get a lot of shows listed so you can start watching them again.
Yes, I was in Florida, and actually for 10 days, which was great.
Oh,
and you were
10
in
days.
Hilton Head?
Hilton Head, which I just love it. So,
That's beautiful.
I think it's so important for us to take vacations. There are so many people that I talk to who never take vacations, and we need to. We need a break from everything, just so our minds can just be.
Right.
And they don't have to be big, elaborate vacations, just getting away.
Yes.
Way back in the day when I was just starting out and I was a single parent and whatnot, I certainly didn't have much money, but I always found a way for us to go on vacation. There are ways.
That's right. One tank trips up north, down south, to the east, to the west. You can do it. Now, today what we're going to do is take a couple of viewer questions, which we got while we were gone, so that's all good. So we last ended with our video on effective communication, and this first question has much to do with that, although it may not initially appear that way. So, Dr. Gail, you want to go through that
I don't
question?
have my glasses on, so...
Oh, well, I do.
Well, before we start, again, we're getting questions right through Instagram. So if you have something that you'd like us to speak on, please send us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
That's right. Or on our Facebook page, Psychology Live. You can also ask your questions through that medium.
Or any medium you can.
That's right. Just don't call us at 2 in the morning, okay? We don't want to hear that. But other than that, we're good. Okay, love the show. My question is, how do you know the difference between healthy giving and codependent giving? I really enjoy helping people. I've always felt it was my gift. Now I'm not sure.
This is such a great question. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much to the person who sent it. I know her. We were childhood friends. We haven't seen each other in many, 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 many years, but you do have a special place in my heart. So thank you for sending in the question. This is a very common topic that comes up because there is a fine line between being a natural giver, where you just do give, and then becoming a codependent, where you give too much. One of the definitions that I usually give about this issue is when you start giving up who you are for the sake of other people, then you've moved into codependency. Being a giver, that's a great thing. It's wonderful. It is a gift. However, when you start losing yourself in it, then it's codependency.
Yeah, and my thing is like this. Don't be offering up A, B, C, D, or E if you haven't been asked to give in the first place. One of the big problems with codependent giving is that the codependent giver thinks they already know what that other person needs, and then they'll go ahead and give it. And one of my great stories about this is back in the day when I was a marketing consultant for small business. A woman showed up at my door at my house one day with a ream of paper, copy paper. And I said, "Hi, how you doing?" And she goes, "Good. I thought you might need this." Well, whether I did or didn't, I didn't ask for it, but I said, okay, and I accepted it. And, she was a business colleague in its way, blah, blah, blah. Well, then a few weeks later, she was really crappy to me, and I didn't know why. And I said, "What's your problem?" And she goes, "Well, I brought that ream of paper for you, blah, 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 and you still haven't written an article about me for the newspaper," because I was the small business columnist for the Observer and Eccentric newspapers at that time, too, about small business. And I said, What are you talking about? Like, in other words, you give me a ream of paper I didn't ask for, and I'm supposed to write a column about you and your business? You got to be kidding me. So my whole thing is, if you haven't been asked, don't be offering. Wait until you're asked, and then you can say yes or no or maybe later.
And here's another example, probably a more subtle one that happens many times with codependents. And being a codependent myself, I totally get it. We tend to be pretty empathic people. We can catch on to people's feelings. So therefore, we do project what we think that they want. And so we do end up giving more than maybe they even want or they need. And then it's confusing to us when they don't fully accept it, or it's not reciprocated, or there isn't gratitude attached to it. That may not be the reason at all why we're doing it, but we're thinking, what do they need? What do they want? Where Mary's point is a good one, waiting until someone asks or finding out what they really need is much more important than projecting what we think they need and then giving too much.
Right.
I know throughout my life I've done that with countless people where I just give. And then at one point it's like, wait a minute, I'm kind of lost in all of this because for one thing, it's not reciprocated, which is okay, but who am I in all this? When do I get to say no? When do I get to set the boundaries? And that goes back to an issue we've talked about many times. It is the boundary setting. Like, okay, I can say yes about this, but I'm going to say no about this, and it's okay to say no. Right. That's an issue that comes up all the time in therapy, that for codependents, it's hard for us to say no. So we're giving too much. We're giving more than people probably even want. And then if we're asked, we feel like we have to say yes, but we don't.
Right.
I had someone in yesterday and they were talking about how they babysit for their grandchildren, which is wonderful. I love my grandchildren. But the grandchildren were ill. The dad was ill. So the grandma said, I don't think this is a good day for me to come. Well, it wasn't. There was a good chance she also would have gotten ill. She had just gotten over something. But she just beat herself up over it, thinking that she does not have the right to say no. Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. That's healthy giving, is when we give what people need, but we also say no to giving when it doesn't work for us.
Right. One more point on this before we move on to another question. You know, when you're in conversation with someone on the phone and they're basically telling you they need something, but they're doing it in a very passive-aggressive way because they're just not coming out with it, one of the best strategies is for you to stop and say, what do you need from me right now? Because now you're clarifying everything that they may have been saying, whatever's going on in your head, you're stopping and saying what you need from me. And sometimes what you'll find many times is the person goes, well, I just need for you to listen, instead of you thinking you got to offer something up to them.
That's a very important thing. And people are often passive aggressive about if they want something from you. We are afraid to ask. Codependents are afraid to ask. If we need something, we're not the people who call and say, hey, can you help me? Mm-hmm. Because we are the ones who we feel like we need to be in the role of being the helper, but we also have to learn to ask when we need help. That's a really important issue in life, right. Being able to ask. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. Sometimes we need someone to help us move a TV. You know, it's okay to ask. We're worthy of being asked.
Right. So we have about a couple minutes. We're going to go real quick to our next question, which was, you did a blog post recently, Mary, on problem solving versus problem suffering. Please explain the difference once again. Just saying, problem suffering is when you are too comfortably familiar with your suffering, however you learned it from the way back, and instead of actually solving, resolving, or dissolving your real life right now problem, you're used to the suffering and you're all the time about it, which is not a good plan, because how's that really solve the real life problem you have?
But yet that is the pattern that develops along the way. So much of our behavior is just habitual, and we learn way back when to have a certain habit of behavior in the way we cope with life. And someone like that, it's just their habit to be in conflict, in the state of anxiety, rather than learning how to just resolve an issue.
Right, because they don't trust themselves enough to be able to take the right steps to fix their situation, correct it, again, solve, resolve, or dissolve it, which is a tragedy. And that's when you call us for help, because we can help you with that.
Yes, do call us. We're more than happy to work with you.
Yes.
And if it's not us, we'll refer you to somebody else.
That's right, because not everybody wants two hot senior citizens for therapists.
No. Middle-aged.
That's right, middle-aged, okay?
Okay, well, we're going to be ending the show, but we probably will continue on to a couple more questions that we received, and then we're going to move on to a topic that we're coining conflict avoiders.
Yes.
But next show, we're going to be talking about some more questions. So thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.